This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Today we're joined by Head of Sky Boxing Adam Smith down here, Head of Big Night of Action November 20th. Adam, how are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for asking. Let's talk about today. We've had a little workout. The fighters been doing their media ahead of November 20th, the next boxer event, and a lot of the new talent on offer that's going to be coming to Sky. Nice to get a little glimpse of what's to come.
Yeah, exciting times as we begin our relationship really with Boxer and obviously with Top Rank as well. It's fantastic that we've got some real young, fresh talent ready to go. And the whole point of being on Sky as a platform is to build these names, to give them the exposure that they need to go with their talent. And I'm really, really excited. Caroline Dubois, one of the ones that I was desperate for after the Olympics. I think she's a fantastic young fighter, a wonderful young woman. Obviously, it's in the genes, Daniel and all the family. And she's got real ambition. And I think she's really good. So I was delighted when Ben and John Wish told me that deal had been done. We've got Caroline, and also what I like, Ryan, is that we've got Caroline from the very beginning. I remember the time when I first walked into the gym and saw Ricky Hatton when he was an amateur with Billy Graham, and Billy said that kid over there is going to be something special, and I think Billy had said that a few times, and he was so right with Ricky, and we had Ricky from the first fight onwards. So I hope we get Caroline all the way through her career. It's it makes it really special when you start with someone. We did that with Anthony Joshua, of course, and we want to finish with AJ, and we want to take Caroline all the way through. So really excited about Caroline Dubois and the Azim brothers as well. Adam, I think, is someone who's spoken about an extremely high standing. Shane McGuigan is really, really excited about Adam, and the two of them together, it's a good story. And we've got a lot of talent coming through, so very, very excited about the youngsters making their way on Sky on November the 20th. Of course, Richard Riakportu too, and Florian Marcoux, and Mikel Lawal, and loads, Jermaine Brown, loads of fighters. It's going to be great. November 20th is going to be a really good night.
Just to go back to these young fighters, particularly Caroline Dubois and Adam Azim, I know they both want to be incredibly busy. Adam has made his pro debut, but been on a bit of a hold since. With those two, how fast do you think they will move? I mean, they're both, speaking of today, very keen, despite their young age, to move quick.
They're very keen. I mean, they want to be fighting for world titles, sooner rather than later. One step at a time. They need to get a great grounding. They need to sort of really blend in well with, a new way of working. I mean, for Caroline, for example, she's been an amateur, and of course she's had attention on her, but it all changes when you become a professional and you're following the football, and suddenly there's more eyeballs on you, and you've got to carve out a different journey sort of behind the scenes or out of the ring. And with Adam Azim as well, he's got all the talent, national titles and everything else, and so much potential. But it's going to be very different for him. He's quite quietly spoken. He needs to find his own way, his own personality, his way of coming out and dealing with the media and dealing with all the pressure that's going to be put upon him that the casual fans want to see. But we'll do our part. We'll make sure they're noticed. We'll make sure they're seen. We'll make sure the stories are told. They've just got to go in the ring and shine. And I believe in Adam and Caroline, they both will, and they're both going to go a long way.
Now, this will be the third Boxer show. I was at the first one. I was meant to be at the second one, but unfortunately I had to miss it because I was ill. But you were up in Newcastle. How are the viewing figures with that one compared to the first one? Yeah,
very good. I mean, the Wembley figures were, I think, our best in 3 years for boxing since an Amir Khan fight. And these, I think, were the second best. So, look, we're doing well on that front. The business is behind us. We're a huge platform. Obviously, it shows with the football following, and I mean, listen, we did big numbers obviously for United Liverpool on Sunday, and that was followed by the Formula One, who also did big numbers. It's not rocket science. We've got great rights and we've got to use them in the right way. Premier League, Formula One, the cricket, obviously a huge time for us with the cricket as well now. The golf, the darts coming into the Grand Slam and the World Darts at Christmas. There's loads of things happening. So we're very, very excited, and we believe the whole Sky Sports package is second to none, and that we can utilise those sports to help the boxing, to help our sport. And so, I'm delighted with the numbers for both the shows. And they were both really good shows, in different ways. Lots of obstacles thrown at us. The Chris Eubank off at the last hour at Wembley, and we have the usual battles, as we all know, the unpredictability of the sport. But Ben's realising, and alongside John Wish and I, who obviously have a lot of experience in the sport and have seen these good times and bad times, and Dillian's fight was called off last week, Josh Taylor's as well. These things happen in boxing, and it's how you adapt, it's how you move forwards, it's how you get on with it, and it's not easy. But really pleased with the first 2 shows, but it is really a case of it's early days. And we go back to the drawing board after each one, just like I'm sure Caroline will after her pro debut on the 20th of November. Back to Shane McGuigan, back to the drawing board. What's gone right? What's gone wrong? You got to look at it to improve. That's what we do after every show. We look at it. What worked? What didn't work? What we're going to try next time? The creative look. It's fresh. It's new. It's different. But is it as appealing as we want it? What about the way we're using our talent? All sorts of things. The different fights. We make mistakes. We want to make less of them as we go forward. We want to get better and better. And as Boxer and Sky, blend together, and we understand each other's businesses and work, more as one, and with Top Rank as well. Top Rank and us. And of course, because they've got a co-promotional deal with Wasserman, we've been working with Wasserman, and they bring Chris Eubank to the table. So there's lots of parts to it. But the key is that we all work as harmoniously as we can. But of course, Ben and I have been working very, very closely for 4 or 5 months. But if there's something that I'm not happy with or something he's not happy with, we're going to be open. It's what it's about to build a relationship. And that's something we did with Matchroom very well over the years. And that's something we now need to do with Boxer and with Top Rank. And I'm very, very, very sure we will do that, because there's a fresh new era on Sky, and it's exciting, right?
That was kind of leading into my next question. You've had the first couple of shows this new era, and you've got this another one pending, and it's something you told me when this was all first coming together. You're going to be receptive to feedback. You are going to try new things. There might not necessarily always be things that we keep or whatever.
Maybe a little less noise when they're decamping the stuff.
Yeah, maybe a little less noise would be a good place to start. But in terms of those first couple of shows, what do you think has gone well with the new things you've been trying, and what not so well as well?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think, look, creatively, we wanted to make it feel different, and Mike Goodall has been around the business a lot longer than I have, and he's still building, dismantling, sleeping in his van. Extraordinary man, who people obviously that are in the business and in the fraternity know him extremely well. People that are outside of it all, that just watch the events, don't know what Mike Goodall does. Building a ring. I remember when he used to put the old black tie on with his rose and do the emceeing as well, and then literally sleep in his van afterwards before the next show. Extraordinary man, incredible. These characters you find in boxing. Anyway, hopefully that's slightly quieter now. Back to what we think about the shows. Look, the creative look is a great, fresh new feel. I think that we need to work on, there's lots of things. The event, make sure the event is as appealing as it can be to the fans, but also that it works on television. Some of the sound mixing, for example, and sort of looking at that. I know the heat maps come under a lot of sort of scrutiny. Maybe it's something that needs tempering with, needs a lot of work with, needs to be to see different performances. Maybe when Richard Riappor's had a few fights, and then you can sort of look at that and see how it works. And if it doesn't work, maybe we move on to something else. The trainer cam, I think, looks good. There's a lot of other technical innovations that are going to be launched pretty soon. We've got the tournament show next week, which is going to be different. But I think, and some of the fights. We should have had the Brad Ray, Jez Smith fight on the linear platform on the Sky Sports show. It shouldn't have been on before, but sometimes you make mistakes, and sometimes you've got to say, look, that wasn't good enough, and we need to get it right. But having said that, Huey Fury was a big name, Chris Eubank, then you get Savannah Marshall's great performance, and then you get Steve Robinson, who has the opportunity of a lifetime to perform, and he's had huge amounts of views and stuff because he's a heavyweight and he looks the part, and he had a great knockout. So yeah, it's a balance. You can't get everything right, but certain things we go back to the drawing board. What worked with the talent, what worked with the production, what worked with the operation, what worked in the arena, all of those sort of things. And that's something that we're working very hard on each and every time, and we're just going to hopefully improve and get better. And the most important thing is that the fans and the customers are getting as much good action and good entertainment as we can provide, and we'll keep going with that. And I think with the top ranked shows that we're getting in with the Shakur Stevenson, becoming a real star on Saturday night against Herring. And, we've got Zabeda this week, and we've got next week, we've got Michaela Meyer, and then the tournament show. We're providing a great deal of content. We've got fantastic teams behind the scenes at Sky and at Boxer, and we want to make sure that we get, that content's produced in the best possible ways, and it's operationally and technically sound, and everything's good. And where we have things that don't quite work, we go back and we make sure they work better next time, or we change them and we take different risks.
The last couple of shows, the main events have been a little bit earlier than we're traditionally used to, but we've also had fighters fighting after the main event on both shows. We had Steve Robinson and Mark Dickinson, I think it was. I think we had one or two at Wembley as well. Is that something that's going to be consistent going forward? Is that something you're going to look at?
I think a main event for us for television has quite often gone on a little bit too late over the years. I think that there is a sort of feeling that, a 9:30 sort of time for a main event from a TV point of view is good. Obviously, we've got to look at the football and the way that we come off the back of football, because you're inheriting an audience there. So it's always good to have a good name or somebody off the back of the football. It's where we did Huey Fury last time. But yeah, for us, it was like Savannah was the main event. But actually, probably our peak was around Eubank, and he's the biggest name. So, you're looking at that. But the key for us is to try and hold our audience through. So, yeah, so if Steve Robinson gone on a little bit late and sort of maybe after our peak main event time, he still gets a good crowd, a good audience. And then obviously the fans in the arena stay on for him because he's a local lad. So there's a lot that goes into that planning of that key TV slot. But, that, again, that's a work in progress, and we'll try things out. But I think, yes, the idea of the main event being slightly earlier from a TV point of view will work.
One fight I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned Chris Eubank Jr. before. All eyes are turning to sort of the back end of the year for him. We are expecting the Dillian-Williams fight, something you and I have spoken about. Is this fight makeable without pay-per-view?
I hope so. I want it. I want it on Sky Sports, and I hope we get it before Christmas. I'm sure that Calais and Nisse and Chris and Ben are all sitting down and trying to make that happen. But from my point of view, from a TV point of view, do I want Chris Eubank Jr. against Dillian-Williams on Sky Sports before Christmas? Yes, 100%. So you better find out if they're making it.
Now, when Matchroom parted ways with yourselves, I think a lot of people were maybe expecting you just to run the occasional fight night, but to rely quite a lot on the pay-per-view model. Me and you've spoken that it's quite the opposite, actually. Have you any idea when the next pay-per-view event will even be? There seems to be quite a big focus on these Saturday fight nights for now.
I don't, actually. I'm concentrating on what's happening before Christmas. What I do know is that I can't see a Sky Sports box office event this year. I've said that before. I don't see that. I'm sure we will come back next year. Hopefully we'll do the AJ and Usyk rematch, and I'm sure there'll be other box office events when they merit them. But at the moment, we are making sure that Sky Sports has a fantastic offering of boxing from both sides of the pond, from Top Rank, from Boxer, and making sure that we add to the package of some great sport that's happening. The Premier League is just sensational, isn't it? I mean, you saw it on Sunday. The Formula One, final race is phenomenal. The cricket, the T20. There's so much ahead for us, and I think that we want to, darts at Christmas time, and I'm involved in that, and I love that. So there's so much going on, and I want to make sure that boxing is a major part of that on Sky Sports. And if you look at the schedule between now and Christmas, yes, we lost Josh Taylor. That will end up being in February, but a Sky Sports event. We want to keep it Sky Sports, and we've had our Sky Sports box office event with Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk, and I think we'll wait for more in 2022. But for now, let's concentrate on what we're delivering on Sky Sports. That's really important to me.
We've spoken about Usyk Joshua too. You made no secret of the fact you'd like to continue working with Anthony Joshua. At what point will that discussion start taking place as to what broadcaster will take that fight?
Oh, no, we're always in discussions, Freddie Cunningham and I are always swapping messages, and my bosses at Sky as well, very much looking forward to sitting down with Anthony and Freddie in the near future. I mean, we know Anthony's been travelling the world a little bit lately. He's coming to terms with the defeat. He's thinking about what he needs to do to try and right that wrong in the spring. And of course, we want to bring it that rematch to you on Sky. I've said it and I'll say it again. I think Anthony will stay loyal to Sky. I think Sky will stay loyal to Anthony. It's been a wonderful relationship. And, we talk about Caroline taking her from start to finish. I want to take Anthony Joshua from start to finish. We virtually did it with Ricky Hatton. I love every single Anthony Joshua fight now to be on Sky. But of course, there are negotiations and discussions to be had, and they will be had. And I'm very positive we'll have a good outcome.
Adam, there's been a couple British fighters sort of being put on the back burner for now. You mentioned Josh Taylor, that was meant to be on Sky against Jack Carroll, that will be pushed back. But also someone you know very well, Dillian White, was there to fight Otto Wallin. He knows the Tyson Fury fight's lying ahead. He's no longer fighting Otto Wallin. What did you make of the whole situation?
Well, first of all, I'm a big Dillian White fan. Who wouldn't be? He's been a great fighter, an authentic breath of fresh air on Sky for a long time. We've had some wonderful nights with Dillian, and he's ducked nobody, and he wasn't going to duck Otto Wallin. So I've no doubt that he's got an injury. There's a problem with him. He would have gone in. He fights anybody. He doesn't mind about that. I mean, I think it was a dangerous fight with Otto Wallin, don't get me wrong, but that's what Dillian loves. Now that's happened. I'm not privy to the contracts that DAZN and Team White and all the rest of it have, but I would be very surprised if he didn't want to go straight for Tyson Fury. He's waited long enough. If that fight can be made, then I'm sure Otto Wallin wouldn't want that, but I'm sure that Dillian White will want that. And we'd all like to see that, the Fury-Dillian White fight. It's a huge fight for Britain, and it's something that I think Dillian deserves, to have the opportunity of taking on Tyson Fury, who cemented himself as the premier heavyweight in the world. And I think, Tyson wants to fight at Old Trafford. Wouldn't that be a fight? Fury-Whyte at Manchester United, something like that. I think it's a great fight for British boxing. So yeah, I miss Dillian, but we wish him well.
Well, it's on my mind. We have, of course, got the boxing tournament returning to Liverpool, super lightweights, 8 of them. I know you did all the prize fighter tournaments back in the day. How excited for you for something like this?
I'm really, 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 really looking forward to it. Not only is it a tournament, I love prize fighter back in the day, and we had so many of them. And in a way, they probably came before their time a bit. I think this is now what people want. They want fast, furious, non-stop action. I look at my kids, and they don't hang around in front of that television set. They want it now. And I think it's going to be brilliant. There's a great bunch of them. There's a fantastic mix, maybe led by Masha and, his personality. But it's going to be a great week in Liverpool. Obviously, it's one of my favourite cities in the world. You've got a tournament which is new and fresh. We're going to have a crack at something different. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be fantastic, and maybe I'll get up there early and go and cheer the boys on in the Champions League on Wednesday as well.
There you go. Adam Smith, thank you as always, speaking of Boxing Social.